I'd like to start the ceremony with a few words also. We'd usually start with an invited guest speaker, but we felt simplicity is best at this time. And wow, what a time we are in. I'm not sure if our initiates know this, but last year, in our first year of Kappa Delta Pi at Xavier, we had such an unexpectedly large class of initiates that we had to hold 2 back-to-back initiations. And now here we are, holding our second initiation virtually during a global pandemic. I'm a professor of educational technology first and foremost, and I'll say again, wow, what a time we are in. I'm witnessing not just the power of technology in the modern world, but the power of teachers to harness technology under strange and dire circumstances, to transform teaching and learning in ways not thought possible until it had to be possible. Technology is both demonized and glorified in our culture, and I do my best to teach my students, our future educators, that understanding how to use technology is a form of literacy. And as with any literacy, we must be able to speak the language, read it and write it, of course, but we must also be able to look at it critically, as our Jesuit values teach us, with an eye toward justice. I'd like to read you a quote from a famous teacher that I share with my students at the beginning of each semester. This teacher is talking about a new technology. I want you to see if you can identify the new technology. If men learn this, it will implant forgetfulness in their souls. They will cease to exercise memory, calling things to remembrance, no longer from within themselves, but by means of external marks. And it is no true wisdom that you offer your disciples, but only its semblance. For by telling them of many things, without teaching them, you will make them seem to know much, while for the most part they know nothing. So what will cause men to cease to exercise memory, or seem to know much, while for the most part they know nothing? The internet? Our smartphones? The famous teacher quoted here is Socrates, and he's talking about that new technology called writing. You see, in his time, you were wise when you could memorize information or give great lengthy orations. This new technology of writing was viewed suspiciously. Part of what we now see as basic literacy was under fire by one of the most revered teachers of the time. Fast forward to 2020, a few thousand years later, and we are still coming to terms with literacy. What does it mean to be literate in this time and place? And how does technology play a role in that literacy? There are considerations of developmental appropriateness and worries about too much screen time. There are online K-12 schools and tech-free Tuesdays. There are adaptive math and reading programs that can predict the types of questions that the students need next to either challenge or remediate. There are students playing video games when they should be learning. There are students learning through video games. There are students connecting virtually in Zoom. There are strangers popping into Zoom, unwelcome with hate speech. There are networks of teachers sharing what works right now through Twitter. There is fake news spread far and wide through Twitter. There are kids at home maxing out those screen time limits, and there are kids at home wishing they could hug their teacher and friends. So much is uncertain right now, but we'll be learning from this moment in time for years to come. That much is certain. And so, technology is the medium through which schools can continue to function during this crisis. Aside from packets of papers that may or may not be able to be printed and may or may not be able to be graded for fear of contamination, is all we have, or most of us have. We know that the use of technology to learn is a privilege, and our use of it comes from a position of privilege, just like we know that staying home is a privilege. But aside from teachers doing all they can to do justice to learning with technology, I am witnessing something else. I am not just a professor, but a mother as well. I am the mom of twin boys currently experiencing first grade remotely. And through the work of their wonderful teachers, I am seeing not just pedagogically sound technology use and hard work, I'm seeing humanity. I see teachers trying to look at the camera directly to tell their students that they really miss them and that they are scared too. I see children light up when they see a beloved friend in a video chat. I've even seen virtual Beyblade battles. And if you don't know what those are, count yourself lucky. I see children proudly sending pictures of their work and their workspaces to teachers who are tirelessly responding to each one. I see teachers showing up in a virtual meeting to help families cope at 6 p.m. on a school night, even while their own families are trying to cope as well. Yes, I see technology, but what I see more than anything is humanity, the heart and soul of education. So to our new initiates today, I want you to pay attention to what is going on in the world right now. Pay attention to how teachers respond. To be a teacher, yes, you need to understand the content, how children learn, and how to use technology to help them learn. But more than that, you need to show up in times of trouble. Work hard to solve impossible problems. Model the courage to move forward in uncertainty. But most of all, connect deeply in what is ultimately a human endeavor. I'm so proud to be a teacher, and I'm proud to surround myself with teachers like you who will persevere by whatever means necessary. And in the words of St. Ignatius, and that Dr. Winterman just used, set the world on fire.